the main lines.
Yeah, with when you play against Jobava, you have no idea what to expect. And take us through the game, Ivan. What has happened today? C4.
I wasn't really thinking a lot what to play on d4, so I decided to Slav. But before the game, I wasn't really preparing anything special. I noticed he plays a couple of times bishop g5, and I expected this, but. Now he play move e4.
Even this you didn't expect.
No, of course. I knew that there's some trick with bishop b4 and black should be okay, but during the game I played something bad, yes, because I was close to losing. I didn't like my position at all.
Exactly.
Okay. And maybe the most normal move is here bishop g7, just trying to enter the standard Moscow positions, or maybe take and queen d8 and then again. But this is already some kind of commitment, because
I thought what you did was fine. The key question for me was whether you have to play queen f4 or not. Then of course he will play queen c2.
But what queen d3? Sorry.
Oh, so queen d3?
Maybe it's not making any difference, but
probably not too big a difference. And then he's going to castle by hand or something.
Yes, I didn't like this queen f4 because g3 is tempo and bishop g2, rook d1, king f1. Still, I need to move my bishop back to e7.
Exactly. In the game, it was like one of those things that quite surprisingly, after this move c5, suddenly it's very scary.
I saw this whole line after knight a6, b5, but I completely misevaluated this position.
So up to here you were feeling okay? Then.
Actually here I was a little bit checking move e5.
Okay.
But this probably is not working. It takes b. Because now if knight d2 then f5, but king d3. And bishop f5, knight d2.
Yeah.
I see no compensation. f3 next move. Also here it is interesting to play this, but to try to take this pawn, but just queen a3 and still nothing. Maybe bishop e6, knight d6, yes, and
nothing.
Just piece down.
So the fearless king in the middle of the board, yes?
b5. Now, of course, very bad is to take, because after this I think black has excellent compensation. Maybe e5 or f5. Black is probably already better. So queen b3, this is good move. He wants to play queen e3.
Bishop a5.
Bishop a5, yes.
This is what has happened. Yeah.
Yes, this move.
Now this is already. I thought. First of all, you never want to inspire your opponent, and you never want to inspire Jobava.
Yes,
right?
This is like a dream position for him.
Of course.
Because just later h4, h5 attack.
Exactly.
So I played knight b8, but actually maybe knight c6 is still not a threat because of queen b7. But I need to play some useful move. So knight b8. Here I was pretty much sure that he will play queen e3. And now there's problem because king g7.
Okay, normal move, yeah.
And h4. And he wants to play h5, f4.
Opening up the king.
If I play h5, then this looks very bad.
Yeah.
For example, rook h8, g5, and it's already lost, and this also looked very dangerous, also close to losing, I think. And queen h4, rook g6, and I think he has many moves here.
I'm afraid in such positions you start to think that you will be on the losing side of the brilliancy, and all the books will have your picture, and it's terrible feelings.
I didn't know if I will manage to maybe hold the game up to 30 moves.
Exactly.
So
queen e3 for you was the big problem.
But here he spent a lot of time, and I was wondering why. Because this queen e3,
it looks very straightforward, actually.
I'm not sure what would I play there. I saw this move, but because queen h6 is now not so good. And queen... Okay, rook d2 here, actually. or queen f6, and there is no mate.
And rook d2.
But he just plays rook d1. And
maybe your rook is missing.
Yes,
from
also
the
some knight d6, and now f7 is also weak.
Yes.
So here probably this.
How did you save yourself? I'm beginning to wonder. How did you do?
Here I'm not sure. Maybe bishop c7, but
it looks very.
This was. Also now on f5 he can take knight g5. Every line I was checking it, so just close to losing. So he played queen g3. This is not. Still he has a huge advantage.
Yes.
So I played bishop c7. Now he played king e3 here.
Did he? What did?
Yes.
Yes, he played.
This I didn't expect it. I think h4. Just probably rook d8. Rook d1. Now I wanted to play rook d5. And I was even happy with some kind of such disposition.
Any exchange sacrifices where you can make a blockade of some time.
I will take one pawn because f4. Rook c1 is not taking pawn on c6 because knight e6 and knight e4.
Right.
So here actually I'm
happy.
Just worse.
But happily worse instead of terribly lost. So we could go back but here But
okay, he doesn't have to play knight c3. He can play f4, h5.
F4.
Okay, but my idea was just to take and take on d1 and knight d7. But actually also here, now I remember I was even considering this move immediately. Which, even if he takes with pawn and king d1, it should be just lost.
Yeah.
This is very bad. So rook d5 is probably on the move.
And then
f4, right?
Yes. I have the feeling.
Okay, knight d7. No, it's really hard even to find some normal move.
Yeah, exactly.
But this king e3 is just terrible move, I think. Because g5.
Well, even I'm not sure. Okay, he plays a move like king e3 so he can play bishop d3 or something, but he doesn't need his bishop in this attack.
I think he wanted to defend this rook, to prevent rook d8, just to defend this guy and to move bishop.
All right. So you seized your opportunity. So you played g5 with the idea that maybe you can play f5 and
yes, of course,
and cause some
also
immediate
f6
problem.
is possible. F6 is actually threatening to take piece.
Yeah.
So. But now even some lights like this, I was ready to give exchange because f6, knight g6, his king is in center. Maybe.
Right.
Also, the queen is very bad placed. So maybe even bishop f4 first check. Because now he's pinned. I'm not sure, but what's the evaluation of this position?
Well, at least your play. Yeah, I mean, instead of resigning, you're fighting.
Yes, but of course f6 is not maybe necessary. Maybe just king g7.
Yeah, no, and actually king g7 looks very normal.
Yes,
you don't have to panic yet. Soon you will panic, but
yes. Now I think black can probably hold this position. He played f4. Now I couldn't make a decision between f6 and f5 because after f6 I think this is the only move.
Okay.
And now if I cannot play e5, he takes takes e5 and takes on g5, and if I play something like knight d7 or queen g7, he just plays h4. Oh, okay, maybe on queen g7 not h4 because I will take the queen, but some other moves. So this is probably the best. But now knight on d3 is defending f4, and
maybe you have problems now.
yes, he came maybe here, but he has definitely compensation for a pawn.
Huge, with the horrible bishop on c8.
Knight e5, bishop d3, rook h1.
Right.
He can only be better. Maybe it's already much better.
Yes.
So f5. I was just considering knight d6 here.
Yeah, by the way, when you have this problem, you can't make a decision between f6 and f5. So at a certain moment, how much time did you use to decide on f5? Was it a long think?
But actually, when I saw this end game, I kind of decided to play f5 just to see if it's not losing.
Okay.
So if he goes anywhere back with knight, just bishop e5 and pawn on c5 is hanging.
So knight jumped.
Okay, he played h4, but this was
your main variation.
Calculating. And next move knight d7 I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And he cannot move queen h3 because just pawn on f4.
Can he play rook c1? Well, then pawn on d4 is a little bit funny, no? You may
yes, rook c1, rook d8. I saw this move.
That's annoying.
But also some c5s or knight d7. So because he can never play this.
And then it stops.
Yes.
Then the music stops. Yeah. So how can he? It feels like a position where he should have some wonderfully active, aggressive move, but
I think here only black can be better.
The crisis has passed for you, thankfully.
So probably that's why he played h4. Because this is maybe with no counterplay if he's worse.
Right.
h4, now I took on e5. I think this is a precise move because if I take here and now take maybe this check. And he can take f takes and he just has enough pawns and my king is open, so so that's why bishop e5.
It was more precise, yeah.
Now he takes hg, then bishop d4. And I think this is just lost easily because his king is even weaker.
Really terrible, yeah.
So he must take with this pawn.
Okay.
So first I thought maybe I can take the pawn, but I just saw that he can easily hide with king on e1. And then my second thought was, of course I saw this move was I playing the game, but h5.
h5?
Yes. And but I didn't like it because of b4, but later I was thinking, but this is not a big deal because a5 just... And my rook is entering the game.
With a check very powerfully, actually, yeah?
And here he's, I think, slow. So this was maybe interesting possibility.
h5.
Because queen h4, just if I start to give checks and play some e3 moves.
White can get mated on himself, yes.
But I took here. I didn't see anything wrong with this. Rook h5, rook f5. Now he played bishop e2.
Right.
Yes, he cannot move a queen because the gf and...
You get to trade rooks at least, if not even better, yeah.
So the problem is this is not working. Because just this move and...
But why wouldn't you be happy about this? Because now he has no rook a1 to h1. You go back to e7, so you have the same position.
Now you but he has bishop d3, yes.
Right, okay. Yes, you've actually you moved your pawn to e3, you gave his bishop a pass.
Yes, also he improved his king, because king on e3 is...
more...
I have always some taking on f4 and...
tricks, yeah.
Here I don't have this. So bishop e2. I think this is a good move.
Finally, you're threatening to take on f4.
So he must take, because otherwise if he moves king, just I take and change rooks or queens, so it's over. Knight d7.
Nice move.
Because queen e5 he can take and rook h1, and he's definitely not worse.
Right. Well, pieces are sleeping. If you're going to be a piece up, you might as well use them, right?
So, knight d7.
Okay,
h1. And knight f8.
Maybe you were proud of your knight on f8 because Bent Larsen said when you put a knight on f8 you can never get mated. So you were feeling good about this.
Actually, here I already saw this idea. If I put my rook to g7, there are no checks after nothing. Just
yeah, you'll be completely safe. Yeah.
And I'm threatening knight g6. So if you play some stuff, not on h4 with tempo, but for example here, I think this is also just if queen h6, then queen f4, and queen d2, it's mate. So you cannot do anything like this. Knight f8. So he must play this. Now I cannot play this move because this is annoying.
Quite a blow, in fact. Yeah, g6 is...
now I must take with queen because of rook h7, and I saw this. Maybe there is even something more for white, but I think he can save the game here.
Yeah, for sure. He had the rook f8, which after queen g6.
Sorry. Yes.
It's like, so you must take rook.
Yes,
you must
okay.
take rook. You have no choice. You took rook, which is the right.
I didn't see this.
Yeah, that was...
but I wasn't even calculating
No,
so much.
no. You saw what you needed to do. You played it very well.
So if g6, just king g7, and I take the pawn.
Yes.
So he took on e4. He cannot even play this. Okay, of course I can play this and with same idea, but even this because I have knight h7.
And all pieces are waking up, yeah.
So he took here, played bishop d7, king e3. Now I played rook f7, but maybe bishop e8 is interesting. Somehow I didn't know what's going on here. It was hard to decide because position is winning, and
you want to be precise, of course.
Yes.
You don't want to give him any chance to escape.
yes, I want to just be safe here with rook on g7, king g8.
I agree. I think this is a very we say sound decision. I mean,
it's practical.
Practical, exactly.
So queen h4 here, and here I think I played bad move.
A bad move.
Okay, imprecise, let's say, because I was wondering to put rook on d8 or
Clear.
c8.
Clear.
But
Well, rook
on
d8
d8 I
looks
wanted
normal.
to play bishop e8 next.
Clear.
But then I saw something like queen d4, and
But
still I
it's
cannot.
But it's
Yes,
only
on
temporary. Yeah?
Yes, I can play a5, for example.
Yes.
But I think the best move is maybe rook b8, just preventing a4. Because if I play a5, a4, then
There's
position
no
is completely winning.
Yes. There's no way for him to open the game, and
So rook c8 now.
so
he
you
opens
gave
it.
him chance.
Yes, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, still it's winning position, but I need to be precise.
Mm-hmm.
Rook b8 before. Here I saw this move and I thought that it's
You're
over.
collecting all pawns.
Yes,
you will
but
resign.
he found this nice research to put king on c3 and to defend b4 pawn, because if I take this pawn then it's very easy. Now there was some problems because he threatens to take both pawns. If I play rook b7, then queen a6 and queen a5.
You make a repetition. Suddenly,
Yes.
Yeah.
So here I played this move.
Okay.
Took, and before I was wondering what's going on with this move with idea b5. But probably I can play this because in b5 now and c6 I have knight e5.
Oops. King is in pin.
Okay. This is position we were both thinking, and he lost on time, so we won't know what would happen, but
So one more look. Queen b7 was
Queen
the
b7.
move that you were most concerned, yes?
yes, and I think knight g6.
Looks...
Because b5 is now already a threat on c6.
How do you have time for e5 and knight e6, or is that too ambitious?
Yes. Also I saw this move because bishop on c6 bishop can go, but I thought I can always play it like this. Yeah, maybe this is even better. I was considering them both.
Knight g6, knight e5 looks solid, and this is
because here I had just this and take on f3 and rook g6, take on c6.
Exactly. That was my thought as well. Yeah.
Okay, maybe some endgame queen against two rooks and knight. Okay. I should win this.
Yeah. Then the computer will say mate at 28, and then it will say mate at 12, and then mate at 4. You have the feeling that these are not the endgames you want to play when everybody has the engines.
Hopefully he lost some time, so I didn't have to show my technique.
Very good. Ivan, thank you so very much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure, and good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye now. That was Ivan Saric sharing with us his thoughts on his victory today.